All right, guys. So, sorry about that. I had a minor little mishap. So that's the way life works, though, sometimes. Right. So, basically, what I'd showed, right, is that, right, we're going to start off with area is equal to pi times r squared. And so, this case, it's going to be pi times 12 squared, which is really the same thing as 144. Okay. So then you end up with 144 times pi equals. Right? So then when you get this guy here, so we're gonna round to the nearest tenths place. Okay, so that's the next dot over. So it's 0.3, but there's an 8 after that, so it's going to be 0.4. Right? So now we have 452.4. 0.4. Okay, and that is in terms of miles. Okay, so it's going to be miles, but squared. Okay, so that's how you do those top ones there. Okay, 13 through 16, these guys all work the same way. Okay, so again, you're using area is equal to pi times r squared. The only thing that's different is up here, I give you this nice little diagram. But right down here, there's no diagram, but everything works the same way. So in this case, I'd have 5.2 times, oh no, hold on, 5.2 squared times pi equals. Okay, so that would be 84.9, but that's 9.4, so it's just 84.9. Okay, and that's in terms of feet. Okay, right like that. Okay, so so all these work that same way, so you're just going to take that there and square it times pi. That's the way all of them are going to work. Okay, and so the next part down, right, that's going to be circumference. Okay, so now circumference, we're going to do something a little bit different. So because we know that diameter is equal to circumference over pi. Okay, is one way to look at it. Okay, and so what I want to do is I want to get circumference by itself. Okay, so let me show you on a separate blank piece of paper. Okay, so now I have, there we go. Okay, so 62.8. Okay, 62.8. And that's miles, okay, and that's going to be the circumference. Okay, but what we want to find is the radius. Okay, so on here I'm going to say radius is equal to something. Okay, when I get done, that's going to be my answer. Okay, and so, but I know over here, I know that diameter is equal to circumference over pi. Okay, so so you could say, well, diameter is really radius, or 2 times radius. Okay, or you could just divide that by 2. You could do that all at the same time, or you can do it separately. Okay, so this guy, so I know diameter, circumference is 62.8. Is that guy. Divide that guy by pi equals, that's 19.99 or 19.98. Okay, I'm going to leave that in my calculator, but that's diameter. Okay, so what now I got to do is I got to divide that answer by 2, and that'll give me radius. Right, so now I'm just going to divide by 2 equals. Okay, so I end up with 9.99, which is really the same thing as 10.0. Okay, and that is in terms of, what was that, miles. Okay, so that's just regular miles. It's not squared. It's not anything like that. And so, right, that's number 17. Okay, that's basically how we do number 17. Okay, all these 17 through 20 will all work the same way. Okay, so you're going to take this divided by pi, and whatever that answer is going to be in terms of diameter divided by 2, and that'll give you radius. Okay, they will do them all the same way. Right, so okay, that is 17 through 20. Okay, number 21. 21, we're going to be looking in terms of area. We know the area, but we want to find the diameter. Okay, so now, okay, so this is number 21, okay, which is 201.1, that's inches squared, is equal to, okay, I have this equation up here, area is equal to pi times r squared. Okay, so now I have that, and I know pi is still just pi times whatever the radius is squared. Okay, so now I want to get this by itself, so I'm going to divide this side by pi, divide that side by pi. Okay, and so in your calculator, you take 201.1 divided by pi equals. Okay, it's basically 64. It's hard for you to see there. So 64. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, this is about 64. Now I'm not going to clear my calculator. I'm going to leave them all on there. Is equal to r squared. Okay, so I'm going to take the square root of both sides. Okay, when I square it, it takes care of the square root. Okay, so now I'm going to square root this whole thing, and that's done with this button. There you go. Done with this button right here. Okay, I just hit square root. Okay, and basically that's 8. Okay, so now again, so my radius is equal to 8. Okay, so always keep track of your lines there. But what we're looking for in this question, we're looking for diameter. Okay, and so now I know that, right, diameter is equal to radius divided by, okay, so basically it's 2 times radius. Okay, multiply that by 2, and that'll give me my diameter. Okay, so in this case, diameter is equal to 16. Yeah, sorry about that. Power went out. It's always nice, right? So, go ahead and do auto image. Okay, so I end up with my diameter being 16. Okay, and so right now down here, number 23. Okay, 23 is taking this a little bit simpler. Okay, so we have area. Okay, remember area is equal to pi r squared. Now in this case, we're going to have the area being 64 pi. Okay, so we have 64 pi is equal to pi times r squared, because we don't know the radius yet. Now, anytime you have two things on the same side of the equation, that means they're equal and they go to 1. Okay, so now I have 64 is equal to r squared. Okay, so I square root both sides. Okay, so my radius is going to be equal to 8. Okay, and so we're almost there, right? And so that's my radius. Now what I want to know is the circumference. Okay, so on this side, now that's my radius, so multiply that by 2, so 16 is my diameter. Okay, and I know my circumference, right? Diameter is equal to circumference over pi. Okay, so I'd multiply by pi to get rid of that and that. Multiply by pi. Okay, so basically I take this diameter, multiply it by pi. So 16 times pi. Pi equals. Okay, so we end up with 50.3. Okay, so 50.3. And that would be in terms of miles. Okay, so basically the circumference. So what we basically said with this is that we have this circle. Hey, we know the area. We know the inside of the area. Okay, but we want to know how far do we have to go all the way around on the outside. Okay, that's really what circumference is. Okay, in the last section, I'll be very brief because this is fairly easy. Okay, so for all the equations, for all the structures or symbols on the back, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do, right, area, so pi r squared times the height. Okay, so in this one, okay, so we're going to go through, we're going to find this one. So I'm going to square 5. So it's 5 squared times pi equals 78.53. Now, this is the radius, and that's the height. Okay, and so here, we're going to go through, and I'm going to say that multiply that by 12 equals. So I get 924.5. 924.5. That's going to be in terms of kilometers. Now instead of squared, we're going to be doing cubes, because now you have length times width times height. Okay, and so all those will work the same. So hopefully that will all make sense. So remember, you guys can always text me, or you can email me at DresselES at Remind. So have a good weekend. Thanks a lot. Bye.